cards there and cycles. Did you guys know that the 52 cards in a deck correspond to the weeks within a year? And some say the red and black reflect the day and the night, and the 4 suits represent the 4 seasons. And there are 13 cards in a suit to match the number of lunar cycles, and 12 court cards that represent 12 months of the year. And if you add up all the symbols in a deck of cards, there are 365.
I actually have heard that recently from Cat Boss.
Yeah, I'm just learning this now.
Yeah, Cat Boss.
What was that last line about the 365?
If you add up all the symbols, they add up to 365.
Could you go through those one more time? Just all of those?
So there are 52 cards that correspond to the number of weeks. There are 2 colors, red and black, that reflect the night and the day. There are 4 suits that represent the 4 seasons. There are 13 cards in a suit to match the number of lunar cycles. And there are 12 court cards that represent the 12 months of the year. And if you add up all the symbols in the deck of cards, there are 365.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah. Basically, Cat Boss was saying how like the origin of playing cards is really unknown. They were used by like the Magi's or some shit like that. It was really interesting what she was talking about.
Yeah, that might go back. Yeah, like into like a deeper symbology, sacred geometry type of a system.
What's up, bro?
Yo. Yeah, it was really
and I also, now I could be wrong, but as far as I know, back in the day, they used to be split by the Joker, so there'd be one on the outside of the deck and one in the middle of the deck. Now, I could be wrong about this. I'm pretty sure I remember that. Now, wouldn't that kind of be the equinoxes? Like you could say, because there's 2 of them?
Maybe.
But the other ones do add up, and it's kind of weird. And like you said, like they go back so far.
They don't know the origin of them, actually, really. It's pretty wild to think about.
And some of that, you've got also like the 12 signs of the zodiac and the 4 elements: earth, air, fire, and water. So, yeah, it's interesting to look at some of those factors as well.
Yeah, ace, king, queen, jack. Yeah.
I just started listening or watching Angry Video Game. That guy that you just posted, the 52 card picker. I just like couple years ago, I just started listening to him.
He is hilarious.
Retro games.
He's been around a while.
Yeah.
He is a skilled content creator. Yeah, he's funny and clever, and I've seen a decent amount of his videos. They're pretty funny, a lot of them.
I think one of the first ones I seen from him was the Power Glove.
He is
Nintendo
hilarious.
Power Glove, dude.
I just love when he says, "What were they thinking?" You know, like some of these video games that have such like jacked up things in them. You know, it's like, how could they release this as a thing? It's just hilarious.
And he's been around a while, man. I think he's one of the OGs on YouTube, probably. But yeah, playing cards. What's up with those?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, because you have all those numbers like in the Zodiac too. Yeah, you've got the seasons. You have like the weeks breakdown in terms of like 4 weeks in a month, 7 days each, etc. So 52. Yeah, a lot of those numbers correlate with the sky as well. So like, were those cards originally derived from the sky? And then the calendar obviously derived from the sky.
A lot of weird shit with those. I grew up
Or maybe
playing
that's
cards.
the structure in which we live, right? That was created, and we're not actually living the proper time. And as long as we're playing within these cycles that are given to us, we're still within it.
And there's so many games that work with that card deck that are pretty interesting games that are like a multifaceted, the way that so many of these card games, like, is there something to that? Like are the cards somehow replicated on like some kind of sacred geometry system that then when you play games with them, it has this kind of like very deep wellspring of, statistics and odds, so that all these games that we play with cards are sort of like infinitely, expressible to be with all these, like the sort of averages and the sacred geometry numbers and statistics and randomness, because there's so many games that use that deck that people have enjoyed for who knows how long.
Or here's an awesome mathematical thing with cards. If you shuffle a deck of cards, you get them in one order. If you shuffle it and then somebody else could shuffle them, they'll be in another order. The amount of orders they can be in is factorial 52. That's a huge ass number right there. I think they say it's like more ways than a photon or atoms in the observable universe or something. That number.
Slightly larger than Neil deGrasse Tyson's paycheck.
No,
that was my attempt at a joke.
That was good.
A for effort.
D- for funniness.
Hey, can I pivot real quick with the topic?
Pop shove it, then you can pivot.
Q.
Do a kickflip.
I didn't want to be rude. I wasn't sure what you guys were talking about. I just kind of popped in. So,
we actually real quick though, what we were just talking about with the playing cards. Kat Barth, I just invited her in. She's like the one that
Cat's here.
Beasticles was referencing. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I've been wanting her to talk with Geo about astrology and how the playing cards match up with it. So, what's up, Kat?
Hello.
Hey. You're a celebrity here all of a sudden.
Yeah,
So my mind was just blown with like the correlations with the cycles of time and cards.
Yeah,
and then,
could you
Dave
repeat
just brought
what you
up the
said?
fact that you know a lot about it, there, Cat Boss. So I'd be interested to know.
Yeah, repeat what you just said,
Yeah,
Clearview.
Repeat what you were saying about the cycles, the numbers and all
Sure.
that lining up.
So there's 52 cards in a deck that correspond to the number of weeks within a year. There are two colors, red and black, that reflect the day and night. And there are 4 suits that represent the 4 seasons. And then there are 13 cards in a suit to match the number of lunar cycles, and 12 court cards that represent the 12 months of a year. And if you add up all the symbols collectively in the deck, they add up to 365.
They add up to 364. Sorry, you guys, I had dental surgery yesterday.
okay.
I sound a little funny.
Learning.
The Joker is counted as 5 over 4. He represents all 4 suits plus himself. So they consider him a 5 over 4 or 1.25. So you add that to the 364, which is adding up all 13 cards of all 4 suits. And that's how you get 365.25.
It sounds like the leap year.
So yeah, it adds in the extra day for we added up after every 4 years to be 1 day on leap year. Yes, correct. There is a playing card for every day of the year. This is figured out mathematically. Every card has a quarter value. That is the value for the suits. Hearts are 1, clubs are 2, diamonds are 3, spades are 4. Every card has a pip value. That would be 1 for ace all the way up to king, which is 13. Every suit has a pivot point. The middle card is a 7. 7 is known as a pivot through the card system. Let's see. What else can I tell you? You figure out every card's solar number. The solar number would be the pip value plus whatever the base suit value is. So Hearts are 0. Clubs are 13. Diamonds are 29. And, 26. And spades are 39. So you take and add whatever the card's face value, pip value is. So say we go with Queen of Diamonds. Queens are 11. Or queens are 12, sorry. It is an 11 plus 1, sorry. A queen is a 12, so you do 12 plus whatever, we said diamonds, and diamond value is 26, so you go 38, and that is the solar value for the Queen of Diamonds. You can also see them laid out, if anybody is familiar with, like, when Logan from Decode Your Reality, if anybody watches him, or anybody else who deals with playing cards, there's a few cardology people out there. The cards are numbered, starting with the Ace of Hearts is card number 1. The King of Spades is card number 52. So they go up through Ace of Hearts is 1, Ace 2, or 2 Hearts is 2, and it goes all the way up to 52. And that would be the solar value of the card.
Wow.
And then you get a spirit value for each card by taking the, how do we explain that? The 9th root. So you take, and so
Real
every
quick,
card has a
Kat,
solar number and another one. Anyway, yep.
before we, yeah, because there's a lot to unpack there. What were you saying earlier that day about like where do playing cards come from?
It is a mystery. It's it's the Orient claims it. Italy will try to claim it. It's hard to say where it comes from. There is the Order of the Magi. There is a book written by, I can't remember the guy's name. Sorry, you guys. O.H. are his initials. The Mystic Test book is, I have the PDF if anybody wants to read it. That is the oldest book that I have come in contact with as far as playing card information, and it took me from just seeing cards as people's personalities and a way of life, or like a vibration through the matrix that you hit, to like totally took me back to vortex mathematics, Pythagoreans, triangle, and the Star of David, and just the Mystic Test book is referenced in Revelations. I think it's Revelations 10. They talk about the little book of the 7 thunders. They talk about how it tasted sweet in the mouth, but it was bitter in the stomach, but taste is referenced to like testable, which is how the numbers all add up with the cards, and you can test it. And then just going off of the cards of the days, anybody that I have talked to and read cards to, they're pretty accurate. About the only time a card usually isn't the right card for you on your birthday is if you were born before sunrise, and then you are the card of the day before. I could go on for hours about cards. They have blown my mind day after day after day. And if anybody wants to know anything about their cards, I'd be happy to tell you or post a chart. You can, there's a simplified chart. It tells you what card for every day of the year. And then from that, there is a 0-year spread, or what they call a life spread, or a chaos spread. And from that chart, you go from your birth card, and the next 12 cards after it are your hand for life. You have a Mercury card, a Venus card, a Mars card, a Jupiter card, a Saturn card, a Uranus card, a Neptune card, a Pluto card. And then you have a result card, and then it continues on for a few more. Those first 7 cards are major. They are for the 52-day periods that we have, 7 of those every year. And your Mercury card for life talks about the way you communicate. Venus card talks about the way you handle your emotions and you love and you engage in relationships. Your Mars card is about how you take action, what you are passionate about, what you or what aggravates you, things like that, as far as relating to astrology. And then from your birth card, you go with whatever your astrological suit is. So I can use myself as an example. I'm a 7 of clubs for my birthday. I was a Sagittarius. I'm a Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So I would go to my Jupiter card in my spread, and that would be my planetary ruling card. So I'm a 7 of clubs, 9 of diamonds. And then you have a third personality card called your Decan card. Every zodiac sign has 3 decans in it, 0 to 9 degrees, 10 to 19, 20 to 29. And each decan is ruled by the sign and the triplicities that follow. So like Sagittarius, the first decan of Sagittarius is ruled by Sagittarius. The second decan would be the next fire sign in order, which would be Aries. And then the third decan would be ruled by Leo. I'm born in the third decan, so Leo rules the third. And so my sun sign would be, or my third card would rule by my sun sign, so it would be 7 of clubs again. So that's how you get your first 3 personality cards from there. Anyway, sorry, I could ramble. And I'm on pain meds, so sorry, I'm a little loopy and a little swollen. My face is roast.
Hopefully it's not it's a good pain med. Yeah. That's interesting, isn't it? It's almost as if these playing cards are a form of like a communication tool that sort of aligns with like the language of astrology, you might say.
They do. It's like the matrix of your life. They are considered the Gypsy Bible. In the Mystic textbook, he talks about how science has lost its mysticism. Religion has lost its truth and testability, but the playing cards have always been testable. They're signs, they're symbols, they're readable. They have not been tarred or tarnished. A deck of playing cards has pretty much stayed the same. And once you start learning what those pip symbols mean on each card, it truly tells you the language. And knowing the 2 boards and how they lay out with the 7 rows and the 3 cards in the crown row, you can know a lot about the vibration of your life. Each year, the deck can be quadrated and a new plate is formed. And so there are a total of 90 plates. And the way the cards jump around, there are 7 sacred cards in a circle, and there are another 45 that are like karma cards that sit around a table and they jump through the positions. Every card.
Okay, so these are more complex arrangements of the cards then, that you can use as a divination. Would you say it's like it's a divination tool?
You could definitely use it as a divination tool. People do. I can read just a lot about a person's life from the life spread and the yearly spreads, but those are more like the vibrations that you pass through. It's not like each card has a high side and a low side. So depending upon how you are dealing with your life will depend upon how you face that vibration of that card. So say you're dealing with a, let's pick a card that we could, like a 10 of hearts. Tens are all about power. Hearts are all about emotions. So if you're dealing with the 10 of hearts, you're going to be dealing with emotions of people, or you are either going to be in charge of or able to sway the emotions of people. And then depending upon whether that card is hitting you in your Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune phase, plays that card just a little bit differently. Anybody who knows anything about astrology, most of your planetary ruling, Mercury is communication, Venus is love, Mars is action, passion, aggression, Jupiter is giving, Saturn is restrictions, Uranus, friendship.
Is there any relationship between the tarot cards and the playing cards? Like, why are there 2 separate sets of cards? And like, we don't really associate playing cards, which is interesting as well. Because I wanted to ask you briefly, is like, why do we?
They were added later.
Have an idea of like, what's the gambling? Why is there a gambling have they corrupted the sort of divination tool by saying it's like, yeah, this is a tool for gambling, basically, you know?
I think so I read tarot cards and was into tarot cards before I ever found the playing card system. And the history of tarot seems to come after the playing cards. They added the major arcana, and that is kind of the fool's journey. And I think there was, if you look back through history, there was kind of a push to like hide the symbolism and the power of the cards. If you really look into how much they really tell and how much truth is there, like they talk about it being the Gypsy Bible, it is testable. It has not changed since it was presented to us all the way back then or wherever. That the tarot cards is like a change of it, and so it was similar, but it's different. It adds in that major arcana, the fool's journey through there, and then kind of adds in the tree of life with all the Sephiroths and stuff that relates. So it's kind of like combining the tarot, kind of combined playing cards in that perspective of stuff, I think. But there's a lot to unpack within a deck.
Yeah. It's almost like if you wanted to corrupt astrology and divination techniques and tools, and the use of like numerology and sorcery, you might say. You would create this whole new sort of reference data point. So you say like release tarot cards into the mix and try to corrupt it so that, you know, this is what they do. We know their techniques.
There's a history. I mean, they have a history of the cards where they say like when people tried to reprint the cards and put different symbols or different pictures on them, that people wouldn't buy them. They wanted the specific symbols. They wanted the patterns that they are supposed to be on those cards, because they didn't used to have numbers. They were just the symbols. And before it was a Jack, a Queen, and a King, they had 11, 12, and 13 pip patterns that were on the actual cards themselves. And so it was more about the pattern that was on there and what story that tells. Whereas you've got one symbol, you know, your ace, that is about self-mastery, starting, the spark, the beginning, all the way up to, you know, 13 and the power of, you know, how that looks with
and you mentioned the number 7 being the pivot point, which is, you know, like if we go into numerology, 7 is God's number. The letter D is associated with the number 7. Yeah.
And in the card system, why it's the pivot is because 7 is when you leave the physical of 6 and karma of man. And 7 is the pivot into the spiritual, the 7, 8, 9, kind of like in numerology, how that 7, 8, 9 is in that last row of completion, or the spirit row, where you've kind of got mind, body, spirit, or however you want to divide them up, body, mind, spirit. But the 7 is that pivot into the spiritual realm and leaving behind the physical, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, I really like this. I've always had a bit of problems with astrology, like really trying to, like, having a tool or a technique to sort of plug in and a deck of playing cards seems like such a really cool way to sort of use it as a tool.
Amazing.
You know how they, you know those people that use they use that mnemonic technique of where they every card has a, what is it, like a story to it, and then they're able to basically recall 52 cards in a row because they've created a story out of the unfold. Yeah. Have you heard it? You've heard of that before? It's like I
have not heard of that before, but I could totally understand how that would go. Being able to tell yourself the story of the pips. I mean, each pip has its own pattern, and depending upon what suit you're looking at, then you could, I mean, it writes its own story for you, yes, as you go through the cards. So if you are familiar with each card and its label. But for me, like I said, I read tarot. I did birth charts. I was into astrology, but it is so complex, and there's so much to it that besides the basics that I had picked up, from reading charts. I didn't really know a lot. The card system blows my mind. It is a more simplified system to read. There's a lot to learn about it, and it becomes very complex. And you can, in the Mystic textbook that Order of the Magi guy wrote, there is like a divination system where you can, just like you would do with tarot cards, shuffle, deal them out, and deal the whole deck out and read someone's cards that way. There's a system. I have not done that yet. Most of what I do with the cards is just basically off of the spirit and the life spread and the yearly plates that follow. But when I first started looking into it, I was amazed. I was able to look back through my past life spreads, like each year. I found all of the births of my 5 kids. All my kids' birth cards and stuff it's crazy to see their personalities, my friends, my family. So every time I talk to somebody, I love being able to be like, here, just either give me your birthday. I only need the month and the day, and I'll tell you a bunch about yourself if you want to know.
Tell you what that is. That's astrology language, like the tool of astrology hidden in plain sight, right there. And this is what they do. They occult things, and that's a perfect sort of example, I suppose, of what I've come to understand of how they hide information. It's in plain sight right there. And someone comes along and tells you, hey, have you thought about how many days there are and like in a year and like the association with the cards? Like, that's crazy. Cool.
Yeah, look at the pips and the pictures on the card. The spade, before it was a spade, actually used to be an acorn. And the clover is, so hearts are going to be spring. When things are born fresh and new, it's about emotions, relationships.
Young. Youth.
Young, yes.
I was looking it up briefly there before, yeah.
Yeah, so like childhood, and then you move on to the clubs, which are about gaining knowledge, the mind, exploring, and it also, you see the club and the spade, they both have like the base or a root. So not only are you growing the mind, the 3 triclove of like the brain, but you're also planting roots. And they also consider that like the teenage, young adult period of life, the summertime of life. And then you move on to diamonds, which are where you establish your values and what matters to you. It is the middle age of life where you're making your money, where you're creating your families, deciding, like I said, what values to you most. And then the spades are that retirement or that winter period. Oh yeah, diamonds are fall, spades are winter, and retirement period into like piercing the veil, where you have that like point at the top. And also every deck of cards, the Ace of Spades will always be an elaborate and larger pip. The Ace of Spades is the card of the Order of the Magi, and they are, what I have seen from research, what you would call the secret sacred society, brotherhood, or whatever, that kept the magic of the cards alive and passed on this knowledge. So there's like temple lectures and stuff. He talks about other things, but cards are pretty interesting. Robert Campbell has a couple of books out. He's more of a modern person who does astrology on high end with the cards and stuff. He runs the site, the Seven Thunders. But yeah, there is amazing information. Find lots of stuff on YouTube. I basically self-taught myself over the last 2 years, just buying all the books I could, watching videos, taking in different people's opinions or takes on the cards. It is like tarot.
Yeah,
there is an
I like that.
It's related to numerology. So I'm having an astrology background, that coming into it, that was helpful. And just already what I knew about numerology and the tarot, was able to pick it all up really fast as far as like developing my own memory system. So I've got nicknames for each cards, but yeah.
Can you explain the I don't know, when like back to the beginning with all of
Yeah.
the cards. Can you explain like that quarter that kind of aligns with the leap year?
Oh, so if you take the pip value of every card, so every ace would be 1, all the 2s would be 2, up to like all the 10s are 10, all the jacks are 11, queens 12, kings 13. If you add all 52 cards up, it equals 364. Plus the Joker, which is represented as 5 over 4 because he is all 4 suits plus himself because he's a wild card. And so that would reduce to 1.25, and you add that to the 364 to get 365.25, which is how many days they say there are in a year. And then we add up those 0.25, that quarter of a day over 4 years to make a leap year is how we account for it in our calendar system. So, but that's just the story that's told in the playing cards. So that's how they add up to 364 plus the Joker to make 365.25. Does that make sense? Yes? Does that answer?
Oh, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, some minor needs, but yeah.
Need to absorb all that information.
It's weird. I know some people so every month, like there's a chart that you can look at and it shows like what card is for every day of the year. And it's weird. I mean, it goes along, of course, with our current calendar, which is a Gorgarian calendar. So, some people don't like that it follows that calendar. I didn't invent the system. I just found it. I have learned it. I've applied it. It's shockingly accurate and really creeps me out a lot of times and blows my mind. So, I was called a witch.
Divination is definitely real, for sure.
Yeah, well, I was called a witch and a devil demonizer. I don't know, a devil idolizer. I don't know. It's like whatever. Like, it's okay. I'm like, I have no problem being called a witch. I'm the granddaughter of the witches you didn't burn. So I take it all in stride. But yeah, I can post the chart if anybody wants to look up what their birth card is. Just have to figure out how to get out there. If anybody wants to see it.
It's a good way to end it, for sure.
Let's see.
Because I know you would go on for a while about this.
Yeah,
There's so much to go on.
Yeah, and I'm a chatty Cathy, so shut me up. I probably shouldn't be talking because I had dental surgery and I'm swollen.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. I knew it was perfect timing. I was like, oh, you got to come in and say something because we were just talking about everything you know about, for sure. And she's got a flat Earth. We're not going to go into that. What? I won't make you do that.
There's no outer space. There's only the inner vortex cone. My BPIC bump pan ice cream cone universe model that explains. Yeah, I know it causes a lunar eclipse. I'll say it, but we can talk about that another time. I'm trying to figure out how to get to the flipping live,
right above
live stream
where it says live stream, like right above the call we're in, live stream one text. Click on that.
I'll tag you in it.
Oh, thank you. That will help. So I think I'm not sure if I'm there. No, I'm in.
Yeah, truth prevails. He just tagged you.
I tagged you in
it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So I will. Let's see the birthday chart, and then I'll see if I can upload the life spread. If you find your birthday card, and then there'll be a second chart that has 3 cards at the top. That's the life spread, and then your card plus the 12 cards after it is your hand for life. So I'm trying to find.
Hey, Gio, are you still here?
Nope.
No, Geo, come on, Geo. I've been telling Kat, she's got to meet Geo. They have to talk about
Yeah, I
the
haven't
comparison
talked
on
to
the
you
chart
yet.
reading. She hasn't met Geo yet.
I appreciate talking to all of you. I don't know. Is anybody
I appreciate
mad?
your story.
Thank you for letting me share.
Yeah, thank you.
That's fascinating.
Yeah,
Oh,
thanks
there
for
it
that,
is.
Kat.
Here we go.
There we go.
Um,
I can do this. Sorry, I'm only slightly hyped up on pain pills and medicated, so I'm sorry. I'll find the other correct chart to post for you guys.
This is an interesting chart. Oh, so this is how you said I was Ace of Diamonds.
Yes. Yes. So that's an easy chart, but there are multiple mathematical formulas to come up with your birth card too, besides just that cheat chart. So I was told one, and then reading the book, the Mystic Textbook, it gave me another, or it showed me another way you can calculate it. Yeah. There's anybody who's into vortex mathematics or Pythagoreans, like
Oh, no one here.
right? Nobody there, right? The sacred number